Man, the men's Royal Rumble did not live up to the expectations that I thought it was going to. All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode. It took another few weeks off of doing the sports status podcasts. We have a lot of things to talk about that have happened lately. Just even today alone, there was a lot of things that happened out in the sports world. But actually, to start things off today, I went to my first hockey game. I was at the I was at a not a national football, not a national hockey league game, but I was actually over in you know I was over in Auburn over in Washington. They had their own hockey game from the Western Hockey League, WHL, which it's actually the first time ever on this show that I'm going to be covering Western Hockey League. The Seattle Thunderbirds went out today and they played the Portland Winterhawks, and it was an exciting game. It was an exciting game. First inning, excuse me, that actually kept very quiet. There was one score, the entire first portion, and and then there was another couple there's another couple that went straight right back to back. Um, uh, so actually, the first period started off from Lucas Cayona scored the first goal of the game, and then it went off. It went off. Hold on, I have the notes real quick. There were two right back to back, which actually put the Seattle Thunderbirds having an early 3-0 lead. But they could not maintain it. They could not maintain it. Basically, by the time midway of the third corner, Shysowski from Portland scored to make it a 3-3 tie. And it basically went 1-on-1. Seattle scores one, Portland scores one, Seattle scores one, Portland scores one. So it was a 5-5 tied game. Overtime hits, and overtime hits, nobody scores. So it's still 5-5. But, of course, in hockey, it's not like soccer in any way. Of course, in hockey, there has to be a winner. And Portland ended up in a shootout, scoring the final goal. So where it was 6-5. Really, Seattle had a great start, but they just couldn't maintain it. And they actually shots on goal. Seattle basically destroys them. Portland just did enough to, at the end, their little comeback that they had, to go out and pull with the W. It was, being my first ever hockey game that, I've never seen in a WHL game until that moment. And this is actually the first hockey game that I've been to in person. And it was an exciting game to watch. I think this is coming from a guy that's been to several different Major League Baseball games. Honestly, if I had to pick going to a hockey game or going to a baseball game, which would I prefer attending to, I would have to say hockey by far. Because the crowd's more engaged. Everything's fast action. Everything's fast paced. So I guess because of the fast pace that we get to see from being in the stands, hockey is more fun to be when you're out there in person. But when it comes to watching on TV, you really don't hear that. Every time a home team scores a goal, the buzzer blows. Every time a period ends, the buzzer blows on TV. But that's pretty much the only sound effect that you really get to hear. Now, in baseball, they do this a little bit. They have a couple of things that they do that are fan reactions, and hockey does the same. But I feel like even though both sports have done their things to react with fans, hockey I feel like, is more engaged. Talk a little bit about the team. Talk a little bit about the team itself. Seattle Thunderbirds. Okay. So Seattle Thunderbirds, they going back to the whole shots on goal thing, they actually had 44 shots on goal with 33. And I think that the two biggest things when in sports that can help you to win these games are honestly time of possession, keeping possession of the puck, which is what I think lacks the most when it comes towards the second half. At first, they said Seattle had an early lead, so they were able to keep possession. They were able to score 2 back-to-back goals early in the second, which was great. But the time of possession, they turn over the puck several times, and I think really that turnover is what caused them to lose against Portland. Mike Hughes brings up a comment. What's good, Nate? What's good over there in Chicago? Which actually, Chicago right now, it's midnight. But let's move on and away from WHL and talk a little bit about Royal Rumble, which actually is what I'm going to spend most of today's show on. So first part of the match was the Universal Championship. In previous history, Seth Rollins, they go out and they face Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins, every single time when there is a title on the line, Seth Rollins is usually the guy that wins it. However, the streak for Roman Reigns has been alive for how long? Roman Reigns has had the title for the longest out of everyone. Brock Lesnar had it the second longest, and he just barely got it over 500 days. Going to this match, and okay, this first match of the night starts off strong. Roman Reigns, Reigns makes an entrance to the crowd and is dressed in Shield attire with the old group playing. Immediate plays playing head games with the champion. Rollins used his quickness to counter Reigns repeatedly before knocking out the champion from the ring and hitting the pair with suicide dives. Honestly, I think the entrance was kind of funny, to be honest. The whole dressing up in shield attire and stuff. But here's what is interesting. Reigns still has the title, but Seth Rollins actually won via disqualification. But because it was a disqualification, Roman Reigns gets the title back. I liked how they do this because I feel like that this match is going to go. I felt like this match was. I thought Seth Rollins is going to get the title and Roman was going to lose it. That was my prediction. But then I figured if Roman is going to. Because I feel like this was all going to set up for Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns for WrestleMania. For the WWE Championship. But then I figured if Roman Reigns still has the title, they're probably going to win. Anyway, so Roman Reigns, then Brock Lesnar is probably going to lose the title to Bobby Lashley. And he's probably going to win the Royal Rumble. Anyway, going into the Women's Royal Rumble match, Sasha Banks enters in number 1 spot, and Melina is the first legend to enter in. And the two traded words, but Banks scored the first elimination seconds later. And Kelly joins at 4, joining Banks and Tamina in the ring. Banks scored her second elimination in the match when she managed to counter Arena by Kelly before sending the legend through the floor. Banks, one of the favorites coming in, was eventually eliminated by Queen Zelina. That kind of surprised me, to be honest. The 2021 Royal Rumble winner entered in at number 8. Michelle McCool was another that among of the legend entrances, which surprised me because there's not really a lot of current wrestlers out in WWE for the women's side. WWE has been struggling to be quite honest with you. Bianca Belair entered in at number 8. Number 8, Michelle McCool was among those with the legend entrances, and even managed to score an elimination, tossing Dana Brooke out of the ring. Sonya Deville, who enters in at 11-8. Sonya Deville was out at 11, but keeping her WWE official jacket on, and joined commentary than rather entering in the match. So I made a prediction before I continue reading. I made a prediction, and I had a feeling that Sonya Deville, she's a WWE official, she was a wrestler, not a WWE official, and I thought that, maybe she's probably going to be the one eliminating Naomi to keep the rivalry alive. But anyway, continuing on, Deville eventually joined to attack Maroon, trying to dig in at Naomi by eliminating her tag team partner. Which she did. Naomi was the next woman out, immediately begging Brawley with Deville before eliminating her rival. Sonya Deville before eliminating her rival. Another favorite that was out, number 17, was the SmackDown Women's Champion. Number 17, SmackDown Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair, into the match. Deville would get back in the mix despite the elimination, helping pull Naomi from the ring apron as Flair attempted to eliminate her, resulting in Naomi's elimination. Rhea Ripley scored her third elimination of the match when she bounced WWE legend Ivory from as soon as they entered. The first of the Bella twins entered at number 19. Brie Bella entered. Brie was followed by Women's Impact Champion Mickie James. James eliminated Michelle McCool to throw as a throwback to their long rivalry that they had. They continued to play up rivalries as Nikki ASH entered the match from the timekeeper to attack Ripley from behind. However, that didn't actually work out so well. Nikki Bella, now neither one of them at that moment was eliminated, but Nikki Bella was out at number 24. As it continued to feel like more legends were in the current wrestlers from the WWE roster is still in the match. Sarah Logan was a surprise to me. Sarah Logan was a surprise entrant at number 25. There was at the point where it was 10 women at the match. Logan was immediately eliminated by both Bella twins, and the twins were eliminated by Sarah Morgan. Lita entered in at number 26, quickly eliminating Mickie James from the match. Number 28, now here's where it gets interesting, was Ronda Rousey, receiving a massive pop and drawing a tense stare from Charlotte Flair. Rousey quickly ran through her way, eliminating Nikki ASH, which I was surprised by that. I thought it was going to be Rhea Ripley. Brie Bella eliminated her sister, second Royal Rumble match that happened, where one of the sisters from the Bella twins eliminated the other Bella twin. By the way, that was actually kind of a throwback to what happened, I think, at the first Women's Royal Rumble back in I can't remember. Anyway, Asuka won that. Yeah, Brie Bella eliminated her sister before she was after faking that she was going to save Nikki from Rousey, but Brie was eliminated by Rousey. The final entrance of the match was Shayna Baszler, who immediately joined forces with her old friend Ronda Rousey. Rousey continued to score eliminations and dominate the match. The final four of the match was Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, and Shayna Baszler. Flair simultaneously Charlotte Flair eliminated them both. Charlotte Flair eliminated both Shayna Baszler and Bianca Belair. Now it's down to two: Bianca Belair and Ronda Rousey. Flair charged at Rousey, and Rousey caught her, suplexing her over the top rope for a win. Here's my point here. Ronda Rousey makes her run in WWE. Completely changes basically the look and perspective of the women's division. Goes to MMA. Was not impressive. Was not as impressive, as WWE. Goes back to WWE as a surprise entrance into the Royal Rumble. No word, even though all these legends like Michelle McCool, Lita, Bella Twins, all these surprise entrances that haven't made a lot of recent appearances from the WWE. Well, but my point is, Ronda Rousey did not announce it. A lot of these other ones did. My point is that even though 28 of those, there were 28 wrestlers that were announced, probably there were 2 that weren't. Ronda Rousey and Sarah Logan. And I think, to be honest, the only thing I didn't like about the Women's Royal Rumble was that I felt like they could have kept some of these names of the players, the wrestlers that were coming back into the Rumble. I felt like they should have kept that quiet. Because everybody that has been following WWE on social media, believe me, I knew 28 of those wrestlers out of the 30 that entered it already. There were 2 that weren't, that I didn't know, and I know I keep saying that a lot. There should have been less, and I think that would have made that match more exciting. Moving on to the next match. Moving on to the next match was Becky Lynch and Doudrop. Doudrop, it was okay. Started off strong. There was a cannonball against the ring steps. Lynch moved out of the way, sending Doudrop crashing into the steps and allowing Lynch to get the upper hand. Doudrop continued to fight back with the match that went on, including hitting Lynch with the massive powerbomb and splashing his dude to the corner. Lynch nearly won, but without a flipping senton to a standing Doudrop for a 2 count. Doudrop again countered with a manhandle slam as she stands every time Lynch tried to hit the move with up the match, turning it into a big inning style for near fall. Lynch finally hit the manhandle slam, needing to take Doudrop with a second hit in the move. Unsurpassing finish with a nice little match to get here. Doudrop was very serviceable monster heel, but honestly, with this match, the match was great. Don't get me wrong. Doudrop was, I'm a big fan. Doudrop was, great in this match. Becky Lynch was great. But my point is, Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair have been getting these title matches, have had these title matches for a very long time now. And same with Roman Reigns. My point is, for the women's side and the men's side, there really needs to be more of an I felt like now would have been a good time to have a clear underdog, with a lack of a better word. I kind of wanted Liv Morgan to win back when it was her and Becky Lynch having their little feud for the past month. Really up till day one, I should say. But to tell you the truth, now that Liv Morgan lost, I think Liv Morgan is going to leave WWE after WrestleMania is over and go to AEW. And maybe join Ruby Soho and have a tag team with her or something. After the women's Raw women's tag team match, Raw women's title now goes to the WWE Championship. Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. I'm not going to read the description like it did the last one. I feel like that's really because there's only one thing you need to know. Bobby Lashley defeated Brock Lesnar to win the title. But my point with this match is that there was an interference by Roman Reigns in this match. Roman Reigns interfered, costing Brock Lesnar the title opportunity, which again gave me the impression that Brock Lesnar, which I haven't got to that yet, gave me the impression that Brock Lesnar was going to win the Men's Royal Rumble. It was kind of obvious at that point that was going to happen. I thought that I thought it was obvious when Seth Rollins, even though that he won, he didn't get the Universal Championship after that. I thought that maybe if Seth Rollins won and got the Universal Championship, maybe that this would make more sense. Maybe that this would make more sense in the match. Honestly, don't like it. I think that they should have had. I think they should have had Seth Rollins win the Universal Championship, but that's just me. But there is one thing, though. Even though I say that, that means that WrestleMania, where are probably going to see Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar WrestleMania, if that happens, or maybe in the Survivor Series, or who knows. But that probably won't be for the title, unless something else happens in the next couple of months. That's the only downside of what I thought was going to happen. All right, next up is Miz and Maurice versus Edge and Beth Phoenix. To start off, Maurice ran from Beth Phoenix to start the match, as expected, leading Miz and Edge to be spending much of an early section of the match battling with a little threat of, Maurice delivered a couple of cheap shots. Maurice delivered a few cheap shots to Edge, and Miz was in control, but Edge didn't. But Edge DNT allowed him to tag in Beth Phoenix, who dominated Maurice until Miz broke up the pin. Beth Phoenix got in Miz's face, drawing some harsh words from Miz. Phoenix then slammed in Phoenix. Anyway, my point is, Edge wins. Edge and Beth Phoenix both win, defeating Miz Maurice. That was expected. All of this was predictable. Pretty much the whole thing was, except for who won the Women's Royal Rumble. But anyway, continuing on. Men's Royal Rumble match starts off. AJ Styles was the number one entrance. Shinsuke Nakamura was number two, bringing in the two longtime Rebels together as they start the match. First man eliminated was Robert Roode, who was knocked in from the ring by Styles just moments before entering the match. Styles was then eliminated Nakamura a few moments later, getting former multi-time world champion off from the strong start in the number one spot. Ring up, filled up for a while in meaningful action until Johnny Knoxville entered. He entered in at number 9. Knoxville went right after Sami Zayn, taking him down, landing a few punches, and pointing at the WrestleMania sign. Knoxville delivered a forearm to Styles before Styles blasted him in combinations of strikes, and Montez Ford hit the frog splash before Sami Zayn eliminated Knoxville with a kick. Styles then dumped Zayn out of the match. So that was, first, really there's 3 eliminations by that point. Omos was the first true giant entrant, match at number 11. Probably immediately taking out as he can get his hands on eliminating both the Street Profits. Omos eventually eliminated through the combined efforts of 6 different people. Omos is... I don't understand what they're going to do with Omos. I can see, he is a prediction that when after WrestleMania is over, they do like a yearly. WWE normally does a yearly firing, I should say. I would call it like a Black Monday, um, where a good chunk of the wrestlers get fired from uh, their jobs right after Royal Rumble. I mean, it's right after WrestleMania is over, and I can see Omos being one of those people. Only because I really don't like what they're doing with him. He's not very good at the mic, and all he can do is really pick up people and throw them over. He doesn't really have any special moves, like guys like AJ Styles. There's really not a lot of people in WWE that can do a lot of both. AJ Styles is one of them, but he doesn't really have. He hasn't really had a title opportunity lately, other than tag team when he was with Omos. Ricochet's getting better on the mic, so I can see him getting more tag team opportunities in the near future. Title opportunities. Right now, he's more of a tag team with Cesaro, which surprisingly, I thought Cesaro was going to be a Royal Rumble participant, but really he wasn't. Styles in this match he continued to not only survive, but he was dominant. Piled up eliminations. Styles finally gets eliminated. Styles, he gets eliminated, but he gets eliminated by my two least favorite WWE wrestlers in the company. Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss. That's probably the silliest thing that I have heard as a wrestling name. Styles scored 6 eliminations to that point. After that, it was very slow. Favorites started to roll in late. Number 21, there was Drew McIntyre. Which, he was surprised. That was surprising because McIntyre did have an injury, and I thought that he was kind of dealing with that at the moment. I mean, Edge, although on the other hand, has not one, but 2 wrestling matches, two Royal Rumble matches that, even though he was kind of at an inch, basically, Edge's career is basically made out of comebacks from injuries. He's done it in 2010, won the whole Royal Rumble. In 2020, he didn't win, but he was part of the Final Four. Came back after a long time. Starts teaming up with Randy Orton back in 2020. 2 of them went out, knocked some people out, made some eliminations. And then 2021 hits. 2020 when 2020 hits, Edge knocks over Randy Orton, and the 2 of them really start a feud. That was probably one of the best. It was a pretty fun match between those 2, and that's pretty much what the entire 2021 Rumble was made about. First 2 entrances of the ring was Randy Orton and Edge, and the final 2 members of the ring was Edge and Randy Orton. But anyway, we're talking about 2022 Royal Rumble. Kevin Owens enters in. Rey Mysterio, Kevin Owens at 2020. Kevin's at 22. Rey Mysterio at 23. Kofi Kingston number 24. They're in for a little bit. Kingston, and then something happens. Kofi Kingston's probably one of the most. When I think of Kofi Kingston, one of the most memorable things that I see from him is the way he goes back into the ring after something happens and he almost gets eliminated. He does these crazy things while standing on pancakes, bouncing on pogo sticks, getting a handstand, going back into the ring. They do silly things with Kofi Kingston and Royal Rumbles. But anyway, Kingston tries to do that this time to avoid elimination. But he was launched from the ring from Kevin Owens, and his feet hits the ground before he could grab onto the ring barricade. So they don't really do that this year. Bad Bunny returned after a while, and he was in the match at number 27. Immediately took out Sheamus, Kevin Owens, and then Riddle before Sheamus took him out from behind. Sheamus tried to score elimination. Sheamus tried to score elimination from the Brogue Kick, but Bad Bunny pulled down from the top rope, sending Sheamus to the floor for the elimination. Shane McMahon entered in at number 28, quickly eliminated Kevin Owens from the match, and then now you're down to Owens from odd run that saw 3 to 4 eliminations by either Bad Bunny or Shane McMahon. Randy Orton entered in at number 29, and then immediately worked with Riddle to try to eliminate Big E and Otis. Brock Lesnar entered in at number 30, and this is where it really starts to get odd. And the reason I didn't like this match at all is because it was very predictable. Brock Lesnar enters in at number 30. So you're down to 6 people. Randy Orton, Riddle, Shane McMahon, Bad Bunny, Drew McIntyre. Lesnar takes out everybody with a suplex. The same move, a suplex. Before eliminating Randy Orton. Lesnar then hit Bad Bunny with an F5. Tossed him over the top rope. Riddle was out next. And then Shane McMahon. Leaving it down to just 2 people. Drew McIntyre, Brock Lesnar. Drew McIntyre goes for a Claymore. But it was blocked. And Lesnar then goes for the F5 to pull McIntyre over the rope. And Brock Lesnar wins the Royal Rumble. Like I said, and I have said this, I knew that Brock Lesnar was going to win the Royal Rumble as soon as Roman Reigns retained the Universal Championship. And I even knew that it was obvious when Roman Reigns was the reason that Bobby Lashley wins the WWE title. Now you have Bobby Lashley as a WWE champion, which I really don't like that idea. But now you have Bobby Lashley as the WWE champion, which, again, I really don't like that idea. Honestly, I think that Seth, if you had to ask me, I think Seth Rollins should be the WWE Championship at the moment. That's actually what they were going to do until Roman Reigns got COVID when day one hit. Really, what was going to happen is that Seth Rollins. Really, what was going to happen is that Seth Rollins was going to win it at day one, and Bobby Lashley wasn't going to participate in the match at all. My point that I'm trying to make, what is WWE thinking about having Brock Lesnar win the title and lose it not even a month later? Okay, fair point. Miz did the exact same thing last year. Gets eliminated, gets the title away from Drew McIntyre, and then loses it to Bobby Lashley not even a month later. Does the exact same thing last year, but at least but at least there was a story to it. Honestly, I think this Royal Rumble kind of screwed day one even more. Men's Royal Rumble, okay, yes, I have not seen every single Rumble out there, but out of all the ones that I have seen, I'm not happy at all. Anyway, moving on, going away from the Rumble talk and going into some NFL. Tom Brady, news broke out. Actually, Adam Schefter broke the news that apparently Tom Brady has announced that he is retired from the NFL. But then 2 or 3 hours later, there was a tweet that goes on from his agent that Tom Brady hasn't made up his mind. And now Tom Brady's father comes out and says that whoever posted the news is dead wrong. And not even the coach goes out and points out that Tom Brady, whoever thinks that that it wasn't even close, that it wasn't even close to Tom Brady, that Tom Brady wasn't, that hasn't retired and is not even close. But then after all of that, to top everything on, the NFL has posted on their Facebook page. From the NFL Facebook page, it was posted that Tom Brady has retired and will not be playing anymore in the NFL. It's leaving everybody confused. So the question is, at that point, who would you trust? The ESPN reporters? The CBS reporters? The Fox Sports reporters that's all posting and saying that Tom Brady has retired? Or would you trust the coach? Would you trust Tom Brady's father? Would you trust his agent that's saying that he's not? I have posted it on Facebook all over the place that apparently it's undecided at the moment. Now, I'm going to look it up right now and see if there's any leading information that may have been posted from Twitter or something. Has Tom Brady retired or not? I don't think he did because Bruce Arians is saying that he didn't. I gotta know. Now the only thing is that you have to leave it to Tom Brady himself. Is he? I'm going to. I am going to sit here. I really am not going to believe that Tom Brady has retired until one of two things happen. He posts it on social media, probably Twitter, or he is not on the day one roster. When NFL releases the full roster, and if Tom Brady is not on it, then I will believe that he is officially retired. Because at this point, we don't know. We don't know because it's been going on back and forth that he's retired, that he's not retired, that he's retired, that he's not retired. And it's confusing everybody out. I'm going to post something here on the big screen. From somebody else that is on the All Sports All Plays network real quick. There was a joke that was made. Pull out. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to share it up here in just 1 second. No, obviously he was joking when I say this. He says, breaking. I am leaving the All Sports All Plays network. I'm giving up on sports journalism altogether. No worries, though, because in about an hour, I will announce that I am unretiring. I'll be back. See y'all in an hour. he was joking around because that exactly is what all the news reports, all what we've been seeing this entire day, pretty much. It's all of this back and forth stuff, and honestly, I am going to wait. Now the only thing is to see it from himself. And that pretty much just wraps up the show. This has been Nate the Great again, going on the Sportsstatus podcast. One last thing I do want to talk about, though. I have not covered a lot of college basketball lately on the show. Starting off, so I'll go ahead and start off with the men's. And out of all teams, Auburn starts off as number 1 with an 18-1 record. Gonzaga at number 2, Arizona at number 3, Baylor at number 4, Kansas at 5, Purdue at 6, Houston at 7, UCLA at 8, Duke at 9, Michigan State at 10, Wisconsin at 11, 12 Kentucky, Texas Tech at 13, 14 at Villanueva, USC at 15, Ohio State at 16, Providence at 17, 18 Tennessee, LSU 19, UConn at 20, Xavier at 21, Marquette at 22, 23 Iowa State, 24 Illinois, and Davidson at number 25. Gonzaga has 2 losses this season. They lost to Duke, which is currently number 9, and they currently number 9 of all the ranked teams, and they've also lost to Alabama, which at this moment, Alabama is not ranked. They were at the time, but Alabama is not ranked. But going back 1 week later, Gonzaga is still Gonzaga and Auburn swap. Nothing really happened in this past week other than Gonzaga gets one additional win on their schedule. They only really play 1 game in this past week. Auburn plays 3. They have an 18-1 record. Neither team got an additional loss. Arizona is the only other team that is ranked that there is a 1-loss team. But here's my point, though. Arizona and Auburn. I want the people that are out there watching this right now, Arizona, Auburn, who do you think really, or even Gonzaga, or anybody that is ranked right now at the moment, who do you think really should be the number 1 seed? Auburn or Arizona, who only have 1 additional loss, or if you have to go by this whole strength of schedule narrative, which again I don't really agree with, I think that really all of these rankings to go into talking about going to playoffs, I think all of that really should be determined by the record that you have, and that even is true with college football. I think it all should be determined by the record you have. Which is why I think that even though Cincinnati in college football was a first round exit to Alabama, I get that. Yes, I think that Alabama was a better school, has a better football program than Cincy. At the time, Cincy was undefeated. Alabama was not. And yes, head to head, even I said this, Alabama was probably going to beat Cincinnati head to head, and I knew that coming into the game. But going off to the record, Cincinnati should be the number one seed because they're undefeated. It shouldn't really. I don't really see it any other way. This has been Nate the Great right here, and it's 11:51 Western Pacific Standard Time. Signing out, and see you a little earlier in the day. I did the show later because of the time I got home from the hockey game. Did the show a little bit later than I normally do. Signing out, and see you next week.